So we've got a number of steps here, and I'm not going to tell you what we're doing yet because it should be pretty self-evident when you see these steps and you read through them. And I hope you've caught the drift that what we're talking about is problem solving today. Reading the question carefully, drawing a diagram, label. You got to consider assumptions that you make. Solve the equations, and finally, answer in words. These are all important things, and they're all things that carry through no matter what kind of problem solving you're doing. What we have to first talk about before we get into problem solving is we got to talk about two important terminologies: the angle of elevation and the angle of depression. Angle of elevation is essentially what angle you have to look up from horizontal to see an object. So when you look into the sky at a plane flying, the angle that your eyesight is making with horizontal is the angle of elevation. When you're standing on top of a mountain and you look down at a city below you, that angle is the angle of depression. And from parallel lines, we know that this angle of elevation is congruent to this angle of depression. So something to keep in mind as we draw these pictures. All right, determine the length of the horizontal roofing beam to support a roof of pitch 16 degrees. Okay, we got to talk about pitch. So we have a roof. That's a very bad roof. Let's try again. Roof side number 2. So the pitch of the roof, so imagine we have a building. Pitch of the roof is basically an angle of elevation. It's right there. So it's the angle that the roof makes with horizontal. So what do we do with this now? So that's 16 degrees. This is 16 degrees over here. The question is, how big does the beam have to be? Now, the roofing beam, the horizontal roofing beam would be this right here that I'm drawing in red. We need to have a support structure going all the way across this from one side to the other. And I hope you're wondering, gosh, you haven't given us enough information yet. We don't have any numbers yet other than the angle. We need a side length. And we can measure on the outside that, let's say this is 9.4 meters. So what we now have essentially is two right triangles. This is what we're looking for. Well, actually two of those, right? So that's the adjacent side. This is the hypotenuse. So cosine 16 is equal to x over 9.4. X is equal to 9.4 cosine 16. So x is approximately 9.036. And you can verify that in your calculator if you're not believing me. So what is our roofing beam? How long is it going to be? Well, it's going to be twice as long as that. So 2 times this, so our beam needs to be 18.1 meters. Units are important here. You got to do it. No option there. Second example. The angle between a tangent from point P to a circle and the line from P to the center is 27. Determine the length of the line from P to the center if the radius is 3. Holy cow, that's a whole mouthful of words. I don't know what's going on. Do you? I hope you do. So we got a circle. We know that. That's easy enough to draw. We've got some point P. So out here. says tangent to the circle from P. So tangent to the circle, remember tangent looks something like that. It also talks about a radius here. And they tell us that that radius is 3 centimeters. And now we know something nice and useful here, that a radius and a tangent make a 90-degree angle. The ultimate question for us is determine the length of the line from P to the center of the circle. So this black length. That we don't know. We do know that the angle between that line and the tangent is 27 degrees. There we go. Do you see the right triangle? Can you envision how we're going to use right triangle trigonometry to do that? This is the opposite side. This is the hypotenuse. Sine 27 equals 3 over x. Multiply both sides by x. So x sine 27 equals 3. X is 3 over sine 27, which is approximately 6.61. So how long is the length? It's 6.61 centimeters. And if we wanted to give this a name, we could call the center C. This is segment CP. There we go. You got to draw the pictures. You got to label the pictures. And in these particular problems, we are looking for ways to use right triangles.